Hello guys, today I want to quickly show you my little home network setup. It is a pretty basic setup, nothing crazy, but I decided to show it anyway since it's a little more than just the Wi-Fi router that most people have. So let's get into it. This here is the main thing, a router from A1. Now A1 is a company I have a love-hate relationship with. So they do many things really great, but others not so much. This is our internet provider. There might be better ones in Austria, but you gotta know that Austria is pretty bad when it comes to internet development. The internet is one of the worst in whole Europe in Austria, which is concerning. Anyhow, this here is a Huawei router that they give you, and it is a hybrid modem sorta. So we get our internet through DSL, which is plugged in the back. I'll just quickly turn around here. You can see, don't know if you can see actually, this cable right there, that is a DSL, the last one, and that provides our internet. But also, since I said it as a hybrid, you got here the little indication of this mode, which is an LTE connection. And so when it thinks it needs better bandwidth, more bandwidth, it logs into the phone network and pulls from LTE, which in theory is awesome, but in reality is always kind of like it decides itself when it needs more data, so or more bandwidth. So when I download, for example, a 3 GB file, I could imagine it could need the additional LTE, but it just kicks in after, I don't know, a minute or something when I already downloaded some stuff. So this is working meh. But I'm still glad that I have the crappy DSL. You know why? Because at least I have a reliable internet connection. May it be slow, but I have at least the DSL, so it's a wired internet connection, and the additional LTE when it works, great. But yeah, I can't say I'm 100% happy. It is kind of a marketing gag, in my opinion, more than it really serves the customer. But we complained a lot, and actually they have improved things. I had many problems the past year with internet, and also the last months, but they improved stuff, so I can't really hate all the time on them, but they gotta improve their shit, really. So this is this Huawei router. Now I'm stuck with this. I can't change this stupid thing. I'm not the biggest fan of this router because it is an atrocious Wi-Fi router. The Wi-Fi range is just trash. Barely works okay in the upper level of the house, but don't even get me started on the ground floor, because there you could not get any good signal at all. It would be painfully slow. So there's that. This is a terrible device. I don't know why they keep this, but it's cheap for them to buy, and so yeah, that's why they do it. Most people don't complain, most people don't care, so that's why they have this piece of shit. I hate this thing. Yeah, actually I had this changed 2 times since 2 of these already went bad. Of course I didn't have to pay for it. The service man from A1 brought me the same again 2 times. So this one has been lasting the longest, but I suppose in a couple of months it's just gonna die too. Don't buy this. I mean, I don't know why you should consider this, but yeah, so enough hated on A1. As I said, they make great stuff, but internet is not one of them. So I had to change this problem, or solve this problem, so I bought myself a better router for Wi-Fi. I myself don't use Wi-Fi anymore. I use a wired Ethernet connection, but other devices around the house use Wi-Fi, of course, and so I needed a better router, and so I bought this, which was really expensive. This is a D-Link DIR879, and it improved things quite a bit. Now, for this price, though, I'm a little disappointed, though. I have to say, honestly, I expected better range. But the upper floor works great. the one half of the ground floor also works really great. The garden works great, but a slight problem is on the more south side of the ground floor. There it would also not reach. I know it's probably not the best location for a Wi-Fi router in this house. I know that, but I just cannot change this. I would have to reroute the whole, either like put a Ethernet line there, or put the DSL line somewhere else. So that's just not worth the hassle. But I solved that problem too. Nevertheless, a really nice router, has got great web interface, and it also brings me 4 additional Ethernet ports, so I don't need a switch in this office, which I didn't expect actually. So hooked up to this guy here actually is my NAS, which also some people have asked about how it is going. It is going absolutely awesome. Super fast, reliable. It had only one occasion where it was shut down. That was because of a power outage, so not because it had to be rebooted or anything. It was absolutely rock solid the entire time until the point where we had this power outage. There it was running, I think, almost 370 days straight. So almost since I built it, never had an issue. If you want to know specifications, as you can see, 6 terabytes, which isn't quite right. It is running a set1 configuration storage pool, setfs storage pool, with redundancy of 1 drive. So in like reality, we got around 4 terabytes. If I'm not right, 4 point something. Gotta check. But that's enough. I know some have said, hey, why do you buy so little capacity drives in this day and age for NAS? I get the point. I could have bought also, who knows, 4 terabyte drives. The problem was I didn't want to spend so much money, and also I don't need that much storage. This stuff that is stored on this NAS is only very important things that I don't want to lose, like some personal documents, but also important documents about myself, personal files, photos and whatnot that I don't want to lose. And it isn't just all that much. It is actually really little compared to the rest of my data, but I don't care if I, for example, lose a Windows image file, but I care if I lose some vacation photos. So that's why I built this server. So the important thing is stored. The important things are stored on this server. It is a Celeron-based server, really power efficient. Also, to be quiet, power supply runs great. It is a gold certified one, so I made sure to get a really good power supply. And yeah, 16 gigabytes of RAM. It's running pretty good. Also, I swapped out the fans for these Arctic fans, which were really cheap, at $5 a piece. But they work, none of them failed, and also they're really silent. So I didn't want to go for expensive Noctuas, since yes, they would have been quieter, no questioning that, but they were just too expensive. And if one of these fails, what's $5? I'll just put in another one. So that's pretty good. And yeah, in the middle we got this little dude. That is something that everyone should have at home, but very few people do. That's a Raspberry Pi running PiHole. What PiHole is, if you don't know, that's basically an ad blocker for your entire network. So what it does is it routes the traffic through this PiHole, and the PiHole filters all the ads. So all the stuff that has been blacklisted, Google links and whatever, Amazon links, they're all getting blocked off. And so you have a whole network free of ads. YouTube ads, they're still there. They're pretty tricky to block. So you're not really entirely free of ads. But still, it's very handy if you, for example, connect with an iPhone or an Android phone where it's really hard to install an ad blocker. And you can just browse the internet without annoying ads. I know it's the absolute nemesis of any YouTuber because of, you know, no ad revenue, but do I care? I mean, I have my stuff monetized too, but if you use a PiHole or an ad blocker, I don't blame you. I'm getting pissed off by ads. I'm not feeling like looking at entire website clustered in ads and stuff loading back and forth when I can just block all of this and get my content. Yeah, and so since not a lot of people do this, they're still earning big money on this, so I'm not really, you know, I don't feel bad for doing this. I'm actually pretty happy that I did this. And as it is a Raspberry Pi, it is a pretty power efficient device, so nothing's falling into the power bill all that much from all of these devices. You hardly notice that. The biggest like power guzzler is this one, but not even like this. I don't know how much it needs, but this Celeron, and you know, it is a pretty basic machine. It doesn't need all that much. So that is here my network setup. It is hooked up via a LAN cable to my room. So this is plugged into a LAN cable that goes into the attic, back into my room. And also here I still have a printer that is used throughout the whole network. Here's the printer. That's an HP OfficeJet Pro 8720. It lasts pretty awful long for a printer. Printer these days, they don't last all that much. But this one's been with us pretty long. It's heavily used and still works. Only 2 times I had to replace the cartridges, so they were expensive, but they last pretty long too. It was a great idea to get a little bit of a more expensive printer than one of these really cheap ones that just die 2 years after you bought them. Well, maybe not even 2 years. The Office PC is this Mac Mini 2014 that's running 24/7. It's also being used every day and still going strong. Also plugged into the D-Link, I think. Here on the ground floor I have this Fritz repeater, which costs close to 100 euros, but I opted for a really expensive repeater because I have very bad experiences with cheap repeaters that don't do jack shit. This one works brilliantly. It's also powering our smart TV here, this Panasonic TV. So also if you are in here with your iPhone or laptop, you're getting pretty decent signal from Wi-Fi. So that's why we did this. You can also sit outside and still have Wi-Fi. As you can see, it's not perfect, but it does the job. So this repeater, I can definitely recommend this one. Was expensive, but if you get a repeater, get not a cheap one, because the cheap ones, they will just not work great. This is the Ethernet cable I was talking about that comes out of the attic. Also here a TV cable. I know it's not really nicely done, it's just done, but not really pretty, but it works. This one, the main Ethernet cable that goes to my switch number 1. This is a gigabit switch, and I should have bought one with more ports, but hey, should have. But I kind of arranged my way with this too. As you can see, there it plugs in from the office, and this one goes to my main PC. One goes to my Amazon Fire TV stick, so I have a Fire TV stick plugged into the TV that plugs into an adapter for Ethernet. It's hidden down there somewhere. So I'm getting the best internet for streaming stuff. Not losing anything over Wi-Fi. That one goes to switch number 2. We'll take a look at that in a second. And that one goes to the iMac. Yes, and yeah, the rest, number 2, to switch number 2, it goes through here, across the room, behind this closet, comes here, back, and yeah, it's way too long cable, so that's why the rest of it is sitting down there. And it plugs in right here to my second switch, which is the exact same switch. It's not powered on at the moment, but here I have plugged in, when I still had the Ryzen PC, I had that plugged in. Now I plugged in here the ThinkPad. One is for just testing purposes. I get often computers in for repair and stuff, so I just plug them in here. And yeah, that is basically it. One comes, of course, from the other side. And yeah, that is our little network setup. So that concludes my network setup. I'm sorry if you're disappointed and expected some crazy rack-mounted server and big switches with, I don't know, 30 LAN connections, but it's just that we don't need that stuff. And this is working pretty good, and I'm happy that I got it to the point that it is right now. I don't think you have to change anything anytime soon. No more devices will be put in here, so I don't need a switch to make more connections and such. But also in my room everything's fine. So I think I got it nailed now. Got it dialed in the way I like it, and it's working pretty good. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and see you next time.